Let's dive in to installing your Kubernetes collector onto a Kubernetes cluster to connect with Coralogix. Now, quick preamble, everything that we do here is using open source technologies. However, there are some convenience wrappers just to set some config. So you'll notice some Coralogix pods running in the Kubernetes cluster. Not a big deal at all. So we're going to use open telemetry entirely for this. We're just going to use a convenience Helm chart that just ties together some of the config. There is still no proprietary technology in there. There is no vendor lock-in in this approach. I just wanted to say that up front. So you can see here I have a nice empty account. It even has got the support for open telemetry thing right there, which is very convenient. We can see here that there's a few things going on. So there's no data whatsoever. I actually just made this account for this purpose. Now, at the same time, I've created a Kubernetes cluster. The way I've done that, this is Git bash on a Windows machine. I've just ran minikube start after running a minikube delete, and it has actually created a new minikube from scratch. And you can see I've run kubectl pod, get pods, all namespaces. I'll run it one more time. You can see that we have nothing running in here. So this is a very, very empty cluster. Now, the way to actually go about implementing this and actually collecting is really simple. We go over to data flow, down to extensions. You'll notice you have lots and lots of different options here. There's loads and loads to choose from. What we're interested in right now is this integration section. So what we can do is we go down to Kubernetes Complete Observability or Kubernetes Infrastructure Monitoring. Complete Observability simply captures more metrics and more data. So there's lots and lots of different options here. You can see like CloudWatch via S3, Azure metrics, GCP metrics, logs, so on and so forth. We're going to go with this one. So we click Connect. What this will do is it'll give us a breakdown of what we need. So any previous installations we need to remove, any previous extensions we need to remove as well. This is a really, really nice way of getting complete data very, very quickly. So I'm going to hit Setup Collector. What this is going to do is it's going to ask for an API key. We can actually generate a new one right here in the interface. I'm going to call this demo key, for example. Create that. And I'm going to copy that value and hit Done. You'll notice it's blurred by default. You are going to see the API key in this, but that's fine, so I'm going to delete the account afterwards, so it's not a big deal. But it just makes it much more clearer for the instructions. So you can see here that we've done that. Now we have this key and we've copied it, we hit Next. What's going to happen next? It's going to ask me to run a Helm version to make sure I'm running an adequate version of Helm, so let's make sure I'm doing that. Helm version is 3.12.3, that's greater than 3.9, so that's probably okay. Excellent. So then we go down to this next command, which is to add the Coralogix repo. I've already done this, but so it might give me an error, but I can just show you the command running anyway. So it's much easier, as usual, just to copy and paste these things. Press it, already exists, amazing. And then we run Helm repo update. You run Helm repo update, it's really important to make sure that your local copy of the Helm repository matches the remote repository, the remote copy of the Helm repository, which is held in GitHub. So this is just to make sure that any charts that you install are the latest version. So definitely always run Helm repo update before you're doing anything with Helm. Just something to add if you're unfamiliar with Helm there. So now we know our local CLI is up to date. Next, you'll notice it automatically fills in our command, including the private key. Once again, this private key will be useless by the time you're watching this video, but just to highlight how important this is. So we're going to first create our secret. So literally just take this whole command, copy it, go over to our interface here. And if we want as well, by the way, we can define a namespace. You'll notice there's a bunch of information here. We're not going to define a namespace this time. I would recommend, however, defining an observability or monitoring namespace, just because the logical separation of your cluster is going to make your life a lot easier. We'll do everything in default this time, though. So paste that, and that creates a secret. We can validate that if we do kubectl get secret, like this. We can see we have the Coralogix keys here. You can get secret Coralogix keys -o YAML to see a more sort of detailed breakdown of what's actually going on in there, and the obfuscated version as well. This is the encoded version. So then we go over here and we have a bunch of different values here that we want to add in. So we have a Helm upgrade. So Helm upgrade -- install essentially means either upgrade the chart if it's already there, or if it's not there, install it. So it's a very easy one-time use command. Then we have the chart we're interested in installing, the name, OTel Coralogix integration. You can call this anything, by the way, but this is just a default and it's a good name. Coralogix /OTel integrations. This is the actual Helm chart inside the Coralogix repository. The specific version, it's always good to tag your commands to a version to make sure you have consistent, repeatable behaviors. Then we have the render subchart notes, and that will actually give out the notes file when we run the command, and it will set the global domain to coralogix.com, which is fine for us. and the global cluster name is in here as well. Notice that it sets the global name to coralogix.com. This is because I have a coralogix.com region. If the region's different, this value will be different. It's totally fine. It's just so you don't have to worry about it at all. Finally, the set global.cluster name, that will give you an idea of the actual name of the cluster. This is how you want it to appear. So think of a good name for that. So if I take this value here, I can actually just run this copy, click this copy thing here, paste there, and we have a full thing here. And all I have to do is pick a cluster name. I'm going to call this Chris cluster because I like the name Chris. So I just hit enter there. Now it's a bunch of things have been outputted here. This gives you a breakdown of what to actually expect when you're looking for. You see a list of the metrics that are exposed. These are actually available in this README file here, so you can see all the metrics that you've now just made available. You can see which endpoint they're being exposed to, as well as any of the objects that are being defined, and so on and so forth. So definitely read this. So I'm going to put a break in the video here, not because this takes a long time. It actually takes a few seconds, but it takes about 30 seconds to a minute. It's better than me just sitting around and talking. Yeah, just quick flash, and then we'll have a look at some of the metrics and logs that have been imported into the platform. Okay, so that was very quick. I actually waited about 15 seconds. So you can see here that we've actually seen a spike in logs. Now, you're going to notice some things here. I installed this at about 15, let's say, 06, for example. It's now 1508 when I actually ran the command. So you'll see here that we have logs from this far back. That's because the timestamp, they were generated much earlier, and so they've only just been sent now. So this is why we're seeing this. But you see this spike around the time that I ran the command anyway, about 1507, there you go, was when I actually ran the command. And you can see here that we have the logs automatically highlighted based on their severity because of the log parsing rules that exist in a default account. We also have some metrics as well. So if I go over to my custom dashboards view here, click on new dashboard, open a line chart, and go to my metrics view. Definitely check out custom dashboards, by the way, amazing. So cool. One widget, multiple queries. Definitely recommend looking into that. But we can see here that we have a nice view here. So if I hit control space, you actually get a nice breakdown of all the different metrics that have been generated, and there are a lot of them. You can see a lot of what's going on there. Something about pods might be useful here. So if we look for pod CPU time total, for example, that could be handy. Get a breakdown of all the different pods that have been deployed into the cluster, which is really nice. And as a final wrap up, let's just have a look at what's actually happened in our cluster here. So you can see here that we actually have a Coralogix Open Telemetry agent. Now, I know that some people will see that and think that that's a piece of Coralogix proprietary technology. It's not. It's just Open Telemetry running. The only difference is that we've added some wrapper around the configuration just to make it easier, so it's a one-line integration rather than a multi-line integration, like with setting lots of different config files and things. So that's a real breakdown of how to connect Coralogix with Open Telemetry. We've now ingested metrics and logs, and when you instrument your applications or use auto instrumentation in Open Telemetry, traces will automatically be collected as well. Really powerful, very quick. The whole process takes 5 minutes tops. That was just a quick breakdown on how to actually connect using the simplest possible way, using extensions. Things to check out after this video: custom dashboards, amazing. Look at the further extensions that are available as well, and have a look and see if any of those tools are relevant to you, if there's more data that you're interested in around, there's ARM blob storage and S3 and all sorts of different things available here. And don't forget that even if there isn't an integration for it, there are also going to be tutorials for many other different tools as well, and we have custom integrations as well if you have something very bespoke. So check this out. Hopefully this was useful, and this was your lesson on how to connect Coralogix with Open Telemetry in the Kubernetes platform.